I'm so excited to be doing this morning because I am completely on fire. How is everybody doing, first of all? I hope you're having a great new week. It's Monday, still having my coffee, my second cup. How many cups are you having? Isn't it nice to see somebody drink? Do you notice when you're watching films or TV shows that if you haven't seen it and if you haven't paid attention to it, I'm asking you to see that I'm right. Look at the scenes in any movie or TV shows, and majority of them, with very small exceptions. Whenever somebody says, "Oh, the dinner is set, let's go have dinner," or "Do you want some coffee?" or "Do you want something?" When it's about food or drink, the moment that happens before in preparation to drink or to eat happens, and it leads us, the spectators, to think that they're gonna drink or they're gonna eat, but then something happens. All of a sudden, action, something happens. They find out that somebody was unfaithful. Somebody comes from outside to steal something. New statement is being made in the storyline that prevents the people from actually drinking and eating. I think they think that if you drink or if you eat, takes too much of a pause and it's too humane, so they are afraid of giving that pause. Or maybe they're afraid of chewing and talking at the same time, which is what people do. So portraying people as they are should be what they want to do, but they don't. So just watch out for films and TV series, and you'll see how few people out there are actually going to eat, going to drink. There's a huge preparation. There's a huge whole scene about the preparation for it, and then it never happens. What's up with that? What is up with that? I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm part of the world right now, as you can see. The colors of the world, the universe is in me. No, this is actually the best that I can do with a virtual background, if you can believe it. But, okay, I have been wanting to talk about something that's really great on television, on platforms, anywhere. I've been searching for something that I can talk about. And to be honest, from the last great movie that I have seen, which was The Father with Anthony Hopkins and directed by Florian Zeller, which if you have not seen it, you must see it. That was method acting at its best. That was collaborative work between the actor Anthony Hopkins and Florian Zeller. That was the work. Even though Anthony Hopkins doesn't like to admit that he's a method actor, from the interviews that I've watched of the director Florian Zeller, who adapted the movie after his play and had in mind the whole time for the movie Anthony Hopkins, and changed the character's name to Tony so that he could be talking and he could be guiding the actor Anthony into through a new door of personal experiences from the actor's life to bring them into the character's life. He knew that he was going to open a new way of working for Anthony Hopkins, who maintains that he has nothing against the actor studio, but he's not a method actor. I think somebody can say they're non-method actors because they do not want that label, and that's fine. But if you watch his work in that movie, in that film, you will see that he's 100%, 1000%. He's a method actor. Only some of the moments will be so revealing and so up there with the greats of method acting artists. And I say artists because I think we spoke in one of the previous episodes. Not only actors use method, technique, musicians use method, painters use method. It is not talked about, it is not being described by most of them because majority of them are doing it subconsciously. They're doing it having not studied method techniques. Therefore, they have no vocabulary or the language to articulate it. But the subconscious work that they're doing, the organic work that they're doing, it is based on what Strasberg, the guru of method, Lee Strasberg, the founder, the artistic director, more precise, of the Actor Studio, came up with, which was an adaptation from the Russian director Konstantin Stanislavski from The System. And he went to do method to adapt it to the modern American actor. What am I going to make this episode be about? Well, here I am again on my own, talking to myself as I do numerous times, and decided to put on the backsplash or the virtual background, which is completely strange at the moment. It combines my background with the world background, which is kind of neat. I feel like I'm a painting right now, to be honest. Painting, which is kind of cool. The subject of the episode, I'm the subject, I'm the material, as we all are the materials for our art as the actors. So now it can be demonstrated. Let me demonstrate it where I look a little bit better without the glasses. So now it is so much better demonstrated when I say and when it's being said that the actors are the only professionals who don't have an instrument outside of themselves, like instruments to play like a guitar or piano or canvas, or we are the instruments. So now I feel like this can be demonstrated that we are the instruments, as if I am the painting, but I am the instrument, I am the vessel, I am the whole being that is going to lend itself to the role, to the character that I'm portraying, to the role, to the character that I'm portraying. So this probably demonstrates it much better than I could have done it without the virtual background. Excuse me, I have been wanting to, burping. Burping is not used also, unless it is a comedy. Comedy, don't get me started on comedy. Comedy is so difficult to achieve. And there's so many people who do all these stupid scenes on television and then they think they're so funny and they're absolutely not funny at all. But I'm not going to go into that for this episode. So as I said, I've been going through different thousands of millions of platforms they have now for film and television to try to find something that's great. And they were talking yesterday, I saw they were reviewing a new show they had the first episode of on HBO, I believe it was. And it is a remake of Scenes from a Marriage, a remake from Scenes from a Marriage by Ingmar Bergman, the Swedish director who's known for so many exceptional films. So if you haven't seen any of his movies, Ingmar Bergman, talk about method. I think everything that he's done, every movie that he's made has to do in some way with his personal life and experiences and family and lovers and throughout his life. So he's a method actor. I don't know if he was talking about being a method actor, director, or if at that time in Sweden, people were even aware of the language that the actor studio and every member of the actor studio understands and speaks. There's a certain language that method actors from the actor studio members, as I happen to be one. I mention this a lot because I am very proud of it. As you know, in my beginning of the episode, I always mention the fact that I'm proud of being a member because it's very difficult to get in. And I've said this many times. But the language is a language that now, after it's been used by mostly members, what I'm noticing is that it's becoming used in a way that I've never seen before by other on social media. It's being used by politicians, it's being used by journalists, it's being used by podcasters like Joe Rogan. He's got this one episode where he goes into this analysis of why there's so much divide and there's so much dissatisfaction in the world right now. And most of what he talks about, we have been talking about the same things in order to analyze the specificity of the characters that we were trying to understand and play them to the best of our possibility, to the best of our understanding. The articulation, the language of the actor studio, as I have been part of and witnessed for the last almost 25 years, 20 some years, is become a common language. And what do I mean by that language? That language has to do with what before was considered to be a taboo, what before was considered to be a weakness, what before was considered to be what not to do. For example, you could not be vulnerable in a position of power in a company that you work for in front of your colleague because that would make you be weak. You could not talk about your personal struggles. You could not talk about your personal victories because that was not professional. Professional was to put on a veil or two veils or three or four or five and hide all that is and makes you human. And you had to show this perfect, without fears, without vulnerabilities, without struggle, caricature, because character is going to be confusing because a character is someone that's specifically played by a great actor. So they applauded, to this day, they applaud caricatures. Those people in the high positions in different institutions, in every profession, no matter, not just actors, not just directors, not just entertainment, academias, in schools, in hospitals, in engineering, in any position, in entertainment too. The people who are in the high position are so stuck in their know-it-all persona, public persona that they present, that there's no way into to get to make them understand that if they take a step back and they will acknowledge that they are not perfect, that they might not know all that they think that they know, and other people can come with ideas and other people can come with offerings, something great would happen for the masses, something great would happen for the world. That's how you can do good. That's how you can be of service. If you are allowed, it is hard to do so with a group association. So you're you're offering something that you know that could be good for others, and you're being thrown back or you're being kept back, even though they know that you have something that's of enormous importance and substantial and it has essence, but they won't allow you to come in with it because they're afraid for their position of power. They're afraid because they're so insecure, but because they won't accept that they're humans. Going back to what I was saying, they won't accept that they're humans. They won't accept that they have insecurities. Like we have to accept as actors that we have insecurities in order to be able to then go and portray a character that's human. Humanity encompasses all. Humanity is not just a version of ourselves that's perfectly shut up. Jesus, this is getting me so upset. I'm getting into it. And or this is another example. The fact that I'm getting upset because there's emails coming in and I don't know how to stop the sound, that's human. It's okay that I have changed from 2 minutes before due to what is helping me, due to what's coming in, and it's creating a different emotion to come out of me. That's what people do. But those people in those positions, everywhere, every institution, they treat somebody who's not at their level socially not as a human being. If I can go back to when I first came to this country, I was working in a restaurant, and the restaurant was very high-end restaurant. People, I have met and seen people coming to that place from all the way from Bill Clinton to Ambassadore, I forgot his name, Quintana, to Ellen Barkan, to people behind the scenes who are powerful to this day, to the managers, and their treatment of people who were not at their level, by some, not by all, but by some, was diminishing. They were looking down. I remember I was saying I was going to the actor studio to get my master's degree in acting, and they would laugh and they would smile, and oh, they would tell the customers, she's an actress. She's an actress. Well, yes, I am an actress, and I've made a living out of teaching acting. But it took me a lot of years to be able to stand up for myself and to them. It took me so many years. I had to put my head down in front of them for so many years because nobody had taught me how to deal with those kinds of situations. And to this day, we're not teaching children in schools the most important education that they can get to grow up as healthy human beings, the emotional and the social education that's necessary to get through life is only implemented in some schools now, starting with the elementary schools with the little ones. I was watching some reportage on television, and they were doing the relaxation exercise with the little ones in some schools, and they were saying how it's already changing the way those kids are coping with each other. It's changing the way that they can express their feelings in a way that they don't have to keep everything under, and especially as children not know what to do with them. And then when you get to a point where you're junior or in high school, then you get all these mass shootings, and everybody says, yeah, it has to do with mental illness. It has to do with mental illness. But before you get to take care and treat mental illness, you can prevent it. You can prevent it by educating, by bringing emotional and social education. The emotional and social education, the training of the actor is exactly that. So why wouldn't people know the importance of that in our society so we can turn out to be better adults and know how to cope with each other and know how to have conversations with one another, even if we disagree on everything. Disagreement is a form that's going to get us to be smarter, and it's going to get us to evolve, and it's going to get us to do other things that are findings in our society, but we have to learn how to agree to disagree. Now, because we're all at a level of mediocrity, primitive, we're fighting with each other, we're punching each other, we're killing each other, because we haven't been given the opportunity to know how to deal with ourselves and try to make ourselves whole. Now it's beginning to going back to the language that we already know, the actors and directors and writers. We already know that language and we speak it in different gatherings. The sessions of the Actor Studio that I've been privileged to be part of as a lifetime member for a long time, it took me years to be able to even it took me years to be able to raise my hand and speak my mind and give feedback to the work that was happening on stage. It took me years to get up on that sacred stage and have the guts to fail. I was so afraid. Established successful actors to this day who have a commercial career that is at the top level, coming back to work on the stage of the Actor Studio, they have fear of it. It is the most fearful thing that you can do. I remember many years ago, I somehow got to know Gabriel Byrne, the actor Gabriel Byrne, and we kept in touch for a few weeks and we went to eat a few times. And then I remember I invited him to come to the Actor Studio. And that was the first time where I saw this man. Up to that time, I saw him on a Broadway show actually that he did. I forgot the name, but I think it was a Eugene O'Neill play. I saw him. He was already, he was already a known name. He was doing all these like jobs and all the platforms that any other actor would give anything to be on. And he's a great actor, in my opinion. And then I said to him, would you like to come to the Actor Studio or would you like to come and talk to the people in positions of power there to see what you think of it? And he was the first time that I saw this different thing on his face. Actor Studio, no, I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to go. It wasn't even about him working there, but there was this like, he pulled back like a little bit. It was almost like a instinctual reaction to him hearing Actor Studio. So everybody has that, because the stories are that people like Dustin Hoffman auditioned 7 times. Other people like Jack Nicholson auditioned 10 times. These are, don't quote me on those exactly, but they've auditioned more than 1 or 2 or 3 times to become members of the Actor Studio. So to this day, 75 years later, they're actually going to celebrate 75 years since it was founded in 1947 next year. 75 years ongoing, the longest running show, as I like to call it, on the planet. Success. That shows success. But to see, what am I getting at? I think to see that the language that's communicated in the way that we talk between ourselves behind the closed doors of the Actor Studio is now being brought to light by others. And to me, it's kind of curious to see that it took so long. Sometimes I almost feel like America is going backwards instead of going upwards or forward. I'm seeing the corruption that is taking place at the political level now more than ever before. I think it was more transparent with the Trump presidency. And I can't help but make the comparison between how Romania used to be, since I'm Romanian and I used to live there during the communist regime. And to think that all these things that are happening as corruption goes here, and the fight for personal gain and the fight for personal power, without keeping in mind that you are elected to be of service to the communities, to the citizens. That happened in Romania many years ago. That's gone. That happened, and then revolution took place, and then democracy happened. So it's almost like they made steps to change it. I'm not saying that everything is perfect in Romania right now, but they're saying that it's going toward better things happening, the way that democracy happened and elections. The communist regime was no longer. And now I'm looking here and I'm seeing that it's the opposite. From where I used to think that America was on a high pedestal with everything happening fair, now the transparency and the behind the scenes that you see in all aspects of life, political, entertainment, media, social media, everybody is just holding on to their position in such a way that their fear of losing that power that they have doesn't give them any kind of openness to collaboration. That's what it is. The collaboration aspect of life does not happen, or it happens very rarely. I am watching last night the Ingmar Bergman version of Scenes from a Marriage with Jessica Chastain and Oscar Isaac. First episode. Read about it. Let me see. Two great actors. I think they're great. Found out they actually went to school together. So they had a history where the chemistry, and they knew each other for over their half of their lives, from what Jessica Chastain was saying in one of the interviews. So you would think that they would come on, and that the director, I forgot his name, the director who came up with doing another version of the great Ingmar Bergman, you would think that he's got something different to say than what the great Ingmar Bergman had to say when he did it in the 1970s. And then you watch it, and then you want to turn it off after 5 minutes because there's nothing new, there's nothing original about this version. The actors, yes, they're great actors in other things that they've done, but in this, they're trying so much to be real as the filming happened, almost similar to a reality show, where you even see the character of Jessica Chastain coming to the set. So you see her as an actress, Jessica. You see the people with masks behind the scene, and then the scene takes place without any kind of explanation, but the camera goes close up, and all the walls that you could see without the ceilings before, and the set becomes, due to the camera's perspective, a real home. And you know, when you're trying to be authentic, that's when you're acting. When you're trying to be authentic, because it gives you the impression that you have to be more real than you already trust yourself to be real. So, what do I mean by that? The way that I'm talking right now to you, I'm taking some time right now because I'm trying to be more real than I have been up to now. Just give me a moment. I just need a moment. Just give me a moment. What are you thinking? No, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about what I'm doing right now? Do you think that I'm being too personal? What I've been doing for the last couple of seconds is to try to show you that I'm overdoing, rather than doing what I was doing before I decided that I was going to be authentic. So I feel like during that whole 10 minutes that I could watch, because I had to turn it off, there's nothing new about it. There's nothing in the way that the director decided to come up with, let's do another version of the great Ingmar Bergman movie. I'm going to bring something that's so new to what this is about, which is about the marriage between two people. What does it mean to be married for so long? What does it mean for one to be the breadwinner, for the other one to take care of the kids? It's the universal story that majority of people go to. Bring me something new that I haven't seen. The dialogue is so stupid and is so outdated. When Bergman did his version in the 1970s, I believe, there was so much more a need for that kind of understanding, for those kind of characters. And Bergman, did it again, going back to the method, based on his relationship with and marriage with, from his personal life, with Liv Ullmann. So that was relevant to him. I don't know this director. I think he did something that's very close to the series In Treatment, or In Treatment was based on a series that he did. So he's very good with portraying, people in therapy sessions, because that's how this is filmed. There's nothing new to it. There's nothing that's going to make me stop and be so taken with what they're saying. So if you don't have that kind of a dialogue, then the actors are left with having to prove their authenticity in the series that looks like a reality show, that looks like the people have to be real. And again, there's so many people out there, and it gets me so upset. You're still the same people, the same faces. The other two people that there are cast, I don't know their names. I'm not here to talk about names, and because other people are doing that much better than I am. But come on, it's like the same faces. I see the same people all the time. Jessica Chastain, good for her. She's doing this. Now she's doing another movie that's coming out. The other two people that were in the first couple of minutes of the film, I know the guy's face. I don't know his name, but he's from the other platform, from the Billions. He has a role there. He was in Son the Seagull, which didn't do very well, but he played, he's everywhere, it's the same people over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Why are you just giving to the 5-10 people the role when there's so many more people out there that are so much maybe better than the ones that you're giving the roles to? And then they're coming on and they're talking about how they want to be of service during this period when the pandemic is happening. Give your role to somebody else who hasn't had one yet. If you want to do something for the community of actors, give them, suggest to the directors that you know so well and the one who calls you only, to give the role, to give a chance to somebody else who's not a known actor. And stop trying to pretend that you care and you want to be of service. Service means that you sacrifice. I'm not saying that I'm doing that, but they are. So if you want to be of service, service means that you have to let go of something that you could gain in order to help somebody else. To be of service without having anything to lose that's not being of service. Yeah, it's just too many people in the small group that are getting the same opportunities. The same people are getting the same opportunities, and other people are not getting one opportunity. And they might be the ones to actually create more opportunities for the people who are not given the opportunities. But nobody out there cares, because everybody goes for their personal gain, to keep their power. They don't care about what's good for more people. They just don't. And it's very sad. And, we're going through this pandemic as if everything is okay now that the vaccines happen. And I think it's great. Thank God that we have the vaccines. But don't you wake up in the morning sometimes, and the first moment when I feel like I'm the most awake, I open my eyes and the situation of what's happening for the last 2 years comes to me, and I think, oh my God, there's a virus that's killing people, and that's killed so many people, and it continues to do so. And that was not the case 2.5 years ago, but now it is. That's part of our normal existence. And I don't even think that we know the damage and the stress that we're actually sitting on because of it. I think it just puts everything into perspective. And for me, it's given me the understanding that this moment is the most important. And it's given me the understanding that it doesn't matter that I don't have a position of power. I feel as powerful, if not even more powerful than those people who do not open their doors to give people opportunity. I feel that I am at their level of success. And I say that to my actors. You have to know your value and you have to know that you are successful before you become successful with the definition that's made by the commercial gains. But it's still very tough because you have to live in a world where successful without the commercial success doesn't get you into a lot of doors. And that is so sad to me because so many people, so many actors out there could do so many good things, not just for themselves, but for others in the world. And that is so needed. So the fact that they're using the language of actors now is a good thing, but it's so late in the game and they're using it in a general way without really understanding the details behind it. But it is a step forward. At least they're doing it. They're accepting vulnerability to be a place of courage. They're accepting that it's okay to see men be emotional. They're accepting talks like the souls of the people, especially now with 20 years anniversary of those many people who gave so much service, who gave so much to be able to help other people during the September 11th world change forever. Those were people of service who gave their lives and did not care what was going to happen to them, but their objective was to go in and to save at least one other person. So when you see that courage, that gives me hope. Then more people will be open to being of service. And I don't mean of service voluntarily, I mean of service, of collaborating, of opening your arms for someone who might not be at the level of commercial success that you consider. That's when you start talking to them, but they are successful if you just give them a chance to explain their point of view, which might be so different than anything that you've ever seen, and so great for the community of the world. I don't want to see the same faces over and over in all the projects, the same faces over and over again. I want to see new faces. I want to see diverse faces. I want to see people with different accents. I want to see people with different backgrounds, because only from the differences we can learn what unites us the most. I think that's all I'm going to have to say for today. I don't know. I got emotional. And I got emotional because I'm so passionate. And this may seem like it's arrogant for me to talk about my work with sadness or the fact that I'm almost crying right now, but this is to show you that I'm not afraid to be vulnerable with my feelings. I am, because right now I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to post this, to be honest. It's too personal. So the fear of looking stupid when being vulnerable is still there. The fear of judgment from other people is still there. The fear of who do I think I am to talk about what I'm talking about. The fear of my colleagues thinking, oh my God, she's doing a podcast. How dare does she know? Or does she think that she knows how to do this? Is still there. And I'm not saying that any of that is happening, but it's happening in my mind and in my heart. I'm thinking it. Emotional social education is what actors do. Language of actors is beginning to gain momentum because it connects us no matter how much we want to be disconnected from one another. It connects. When you hear someone say, it's okay to be feeling like you don't belong, it's okay that you feel rejected, it's okay that you feel like you're not enough, it's okay that you feel like there are thoughts that are going through your mind that are negative and they're not making space for the positive ones most of the time. But it's okay. You start to hear those things more and more. Before, they were not being talked about because they were considered to be a taboo subject. It was considered to be something that people who are okay and people who have a chance of becoming something important do not accept those things because that's not what we want in a powerful person. And that's not true. Those people who have the courage to unveil and reveal are the people who should be in powerful positions and say that they don't know everything. To be in the I don't know is the greatest gift that you can give yourself, because then you still have room for improvement. And as people, we want to improve, we want to get to our full potential as humans as long as we live. Thank you so much for listening to me on this episode of Hey Stella. Thank you so much.